Wild Robot, chapter 64. Now, this follows the really long chapter about the journey, and we've learned so much in that chapter. We learned that there's more than one Rosam robot. So this is one that works at that greenhouse. Longneck was killed by someone who was protecting the greenhouse and the food that was in it, I suppose. And we learned about factories. And Roz learned so much about the journey, and Brightbill had so much to share. So we've learned a lot, and they've learned a lot. So chapter 64, the special robot. After Brightbill told the story of his winter, he and his mother sat in silence and thought. They thought about poor Longneck and the human who had killed him. So they have to hold that for a little bit, and they have to think about what happened, why it happened, how they feel about it, and what they will do with that information. They thought about farms and cities and factories. They thought about Roz and where she truly belonged. So many things to think about. Then, after a while, Roz told Brightbill her own winter story. She spoke of her long, dark hibernation and of how she had awoken to find the nest caved in around her. She spoke of blizzards and frozen animals. She spoke of the many lodges she had built and the one that caught fire. But she mostly spoke of all the new friendships she had forged. So those are the things that happened to her, the what happened, why it happened, how she feels about that, and what she's going to do with that information. So those are the things that happen. Then in those, what she will do with that is that she's going to treasure her friendships and her connection to Brightbill. That's what I think. I used to think that you were the only animal who would ever care about me, she said to her son. I worried that without you around, I would be alone again. But I was not alone. In fact, I made new friends all on my own. I think the other animals might actually like me. Of course they like you, Ma, squawked the goose. You're the most likable robot I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot. That's actually true. Brightbill has now seen a lot of robots. It was true. Brightbill had seen hundreds of different robots that winter, and none of them were anything like Roz. None of them had learned how to speak with animals, or had saved an island from the cold, or had adopted a gosling. As he sat there watching the robot's animal gestures and listening to her animal sounds, Brightbill realized just how special his mother really was. What a moment that Brightbill realizes, like we do, that his mother's special. And I'm thinking that probably so many children could wonder the same thing when they start thinking about their mothers. They will start thinking, wait a minute, my mother's really special for me as well. Chapter 65, The Invitation. Roz was the first to arrive at the next dawn truce. She had an important announcement to make. The robot patiently waited in the great meadow as the sky slowly brightened and the animals slowly gathered. And once everyone was milling around and chatting, Roz began, speaking in her perkiest voice. Pardon the interruption. If I could please have a moment of your time. And the crowd settled down and listened to their robot friend. We made it through a terrible winter. A new generation of youngsters is arriving, and my son Brightbill has just returned to the island with his flock. I think we can all agree that there is much to celebrate. So in addition to the dawn truce this morning, I would like us to have another truce this evening. We can call it the evening truce, or better yet, the party truce. The crowd began chattering with excitement. I have planned a celebration, Roz continued, and you are all invited. I will take care of everything. Just please meet back here at dusk. Oh, and I have a little surprise. Actually, it's not little. It is quite large. The point is, I have planned a celebration, and I hope to see you all there. Sounds great, Roz, but I'm afraid there's one problem with your plan. Mr. Beaver blinked his beady eyes. The moon won't be out this evening, so it'll be too dark for some of us to see. You are half correct, said Roz. Tonight will be moonless, but it will not be dark, I promise. Now, if you will excuse me, I must prepare for our party. I will see everyone back here at dusk. Goodbye. She's got something big planned. Now, the celebration is 3 pages with a big illustration. So I'm just going to read it. So it says, Chapter 66, the celebration. Dawn turned to day, day turned to dusk, and just as Roz had asked, the animals were gathering again in the great meadow. Word had spread across the island that the robot was throwing a party, and everyone wanted to see what the fuss was about. The fuss seemed to be about a giant stack of wood. Roz had spent the day collecting logs and branches and stacking them in a perfect, massive tower. The animals crowded around it, trying to imagine its purpose, and then they saw a golden light flickering in the distance. Roz emerged from the dark forest. In her hand was a flaming stick, which she held up like a torch. She was camouflaged in thick mud and clusters of wild flowers. She's gotten dressed up for the party, but her camouflage wasn't for hiding. It was her party dress. The animals watched as the robot glided across the meadow, surrounded by a warm glow. Thank you all for being here, she said as she joined the crowd. 1 year ago, I awoke on the shore of this island, and I was just a machine. I functioned, but you, my friends and my family, you have taught me how to live, and so I thank you. No, thank you, Roz, shouted a voice. You have also taught me to be wild, said the robot. So let us all celebrate life and wildness together. Oh, we kind of have to treasure that a minute because you know who loves the wild. Peter Brown. He likes the wild and the wildness. So exciting. Okay, at those words, Roz heaved her torch high into the air. It soared up and landed on the very top of the wooden tower. What do you think is going to happen when that torch goes onto that wooden tower? A ball of fire burst toward the night sky, and suddenly the meadow was bathed in firelight. Hundreds of shining eyes watched as the bright flames crept down the sides of the tower, and embers floated away on the breeze. It's almost like fireworks, so she's giving them everything. It's quite the show. The animals stepped toward the bonfire, eager to feel its warmth, and then stepped back, afraid of feeling too much. And soon everyone was moving. The deer started leaping, the foxes started trotting, the snakes slithered, and the insects buzzed, and the fish jumped up from the river. Brightbill led all the animals into the air, where they wheeled around the bonfire like a tornado of feathers. Roz sprang into the wild dance, her shaggy dress shaking and swooshing with each movement. It was a wild party, and it took our robot to make it happen. Roz and the animals partied all night long. They were so busy singing and laughing and dancing that they didn't see the cargo ship as it sliced past the island, but the ship saw them. It saw the towering bonfire. It saw the robot, and then it quietly continued through the darkness. Oh, Peter Brown, he's telling us something. Remember how he uses foreshadowing? He's going to tell you that this matters. This matters that the ship saw them. It matters. Something's going to happen. I'll show you the picture because we don't want to lose the festive feeling of the party. And you can see, look, there's the birds flying around, and there's the bear. I don't know if it's Thistle or Thorn or the mama. And you can see that Roz's eyes are glowing and they're dancing, and the fox is there. Look, fox. Look at all of them. The deer are dancing. But I'm just concerned about this situation with the boat. No one knows that Roz is at the island except for the animals who live there. And I know that ships are designed to see, I mean, not designed, but it's like if there's something that happens and you want a ship to see you and you're on an island, you should certainly light a really big fire. I don't know. We're going to have to find out.